Yo, what's going on, YouTube, and welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte, and we have a little bit of things heating up in the rumor mill this week. And John Klingberg has kind of caught on as one of the bigger catches right now in terms of trade rumors. Everybody's wanting John Klingberg, and the most recent team that has been thrown in the mix for John Klingberg is the Carolina Hurricanes. So we'll be going over that in today's video. So this is from the Jeff Merrick podcast. The Hurricanes have reached out to the Stars with interest in defenseman John Klingberg. This follows up, the Stars have playoff aspirations, so at the moment, they aren't interested in moving John Klingberg, but you have to wonder here, from Jeff Merrick saying here, that the fact that the Hurricanes reached out to him, you know the Dallas Stars right now, with their cap situation, they aren't going to have the cap space to keep John Klingberg. You look at their current cap space right now. They have $4 million in cap space, and they have a little bit of money going away. They have $6.25 coming off the books for Radulov, $7 million coming off the books for Joe Pavelski. Damn, it's actually pretty good. And with Denis Gurianov, they have $15.5 million coming off the books. John Klingberg's salary will also come off at $4.25. He's going to see a slight bump, probably more than double. And that's pretty much it. Even Braden Holtby's $2 million will come off the books. So what you have to wonder here, it's not even that much space because Ben Bishop is currently on long-term injured reserve. He's going to be making another $5 million for the next 2 seasons on LTIR. So there's about $10 million in cap space, which, again, it's not a lot now, right? To sign John Klingberg, and you look at these crazy contracts we're seeing, you're probably looking between $9 and $10 million for John Klingberg in his next contract. Maybe 8.5 to 10, right? Somewhere in that range. And I just don't think Dallas is going to have the cap space. And you also have Jason Robertson. His contract's coming to an end this summer. That's going to be more expensive. Gurianov is not going to get 2.5. He's probably looking at 3 to 4. So he's going to get a pay raise. So you're not really going to be saving money. And not to mention Jake Ottinger on the final year of his entry-level contract as well. They're not going to have cap space for John Klingberg. Let's keep it a buck here. They're not going to have the cap space. Now, John Klingberg right now is in the prime of his NHL career. He's 29 years old. And going into free agency next summer, he will be 29 still. He doesn't turn 30 until mid-August next summer. You look at his career, he's got a pretty lucrative NHL career. He's got almost 500 games under his belt. He'll definitely have 500 by the end of this season. And he's been a pretty prolific player. He's got 7 points in 15 games right now this season. He's picked up 36 points last season, 67 points, 45 points. You know, his best season was that 67 points. But he has had some injury issues. He's only had one season where he's played all 82 games and another season where he played 80. So he has been a little bit, not injury prone, but he has been out with injuries. Now, most recently, the last 4 or 5 years, he's been very healthy, which is good news. But again, you're looking at his contract, 4.25 is not going to be 4.25 next year. It's just not in the cards. And you look at his time, he spent 4, 6. This is his 8th season in Dallas. He's been there for a long time. He was a 5th-round pick by the Dallas Stars back in 2010, 131st overall. So you see how some guys, you say, oh, some bum drafted in the 5th round. Well, you look 11 years later, he's going to probably be making double digits in terms of millions for John Klingberg. So things have really turned around for him since then. But this is just something that it doesn't really seem feasible for the Dallas Stars to keep him. And the Carolina Hurricanes, if I'm the Hurricanes, this makes total sense. And I would almost be setting money aside for myself if I'm the Hurricanes, thinking we can grab John Klingberg. Because you look at other teams that may be in the market for a John Klingberg, who is realistically going to be in the market, right? Who is going to have cap space to make that deal? Some of those teams, maybe Chicago, if they move on from some of maybe their guys. Montreal may be in this, looking at him. But in terms of a team that could potentially give you some playoff success, wouldn't you want to go to the Hurricanes anyway? I think the Hurricanes would be really interesting here. And they've already got a really good defense under Rod Brind'Amour. They have no cap space right now, but you look at some cap space that's going to be coming off. Jesperi Kotkaniemi's money will come off. Niederreiter's money's coming off. Vincent Trocheck, Derek Stepan, Martin Necas will be getting a pay raise, so you're going to see that money come off a little bit. Ethan Bear, Tony DeAngelo, they're probably going to see some slight raises. So this team could look a little bit different next year, and they may have just enough cap space to maybe make that work. Now you look at their salary cap, their projected cap space next summer, $24 million in cap space to re-sign Tony DeAngelo, Ethan Bear, and Marty Necas, and Jesperi Kotkaniemi, so 4. So let's say rounded between all 4 of them, you're giving $5 million to each of them, and it's going to be more than that, especially to a guy like Marty Necas. You're looking at $20 million spent. That's $4 million in cap space. They'd have to make something work there. But there is always something that could happen down the line here for the Hurricanes. They could definitely get something done. But I think it's interesting that the Hurricanes are in on John Klingberg, because you look at their defense, they've got a really good defense like I've been mentioning. So you add a guy like that in, I mean, you pair him alongside a guy like Tony DeAngelo, they could have, I know everybody has their thoughts about Tony DeAngelo one way or the other, but let's look at their defense right now. And you add him to the mix, you have Jacob Slavin and John Klingberg as your top pairing defense. That looks really good. And then you got Brady Shea and Tony DeAngelo, Brett Pesce, Brendan Smith, Ian Cole. You're probably not going to see one of those guys come back. That looks really good. And let's just say, hypothetically, if Tony DeAngelo is asking for too much money because he's doing really well this year, let's say it's Jacob Slavin, John Klingberg, Brady Shea, Brett Pesce, Brendan Smith, and Ian Cole. That's still really, really good. And now you've got a really good guy to play alongside Slavin, who is one of the most, honestly, underrated depth, defensemen in the league. One of the best top pairing defensemen in the league that nobody talks about. Slavin and Klingberg would be an absolute dynamo of a pairing, and would kind of, take away some of that loss from losing a guy like Dougie Hamilton, which doesn't seem like right now seems like that big of a loss. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how this plays out, especially with how the Dallas Stars do this season. If the Stars have a really good season, will that maybe change the mind of John Klingberg? Will he maybe take less to stay with the team that gave him a chance? In the 5th round, nobody saw him as a player, and and Dallas was the team that kind of, took a bet on him, took a waiver on him, and they ended up having some real success with him in the lineup. So you wonder if that maybe comes into play in terms of maybe keeping him around. And he's from Sweden, so there's no real connection to, maybe going to Canada or the United States. So there's definitely going to be some suitors this summer that will look at John Klingberg. But it's definitely, this is the storyline I want to keep an eye on, because, like I said, who's realistically going to be in on the John Klingberg sweepstakes this summer? Maybe Seattle. Maybe Seattle gets in there. We know Ron Francis likes to add defensemen. He's saving money to maybe go big after John Klingberg. The Arizona Coyotes will have the money, but are they going to spend it? Probably not. So you got Seattle, Vancouver, Montreal could be in the mix as well. Trying to think who else could realistically be in there. Maybe Detroit. Nashville could be in there as well. Colorado, if they don't re-up Nathan McKinnon, which doesn't seem like that's in the cards, but that could be an option. Pittsburgh could be a team that could be a potential team there. Columbus, you have some of that Swedish connection with Jarmo Kekalainen. Could we see something there? He's more Finnish, but you get what I'm saying. There could be a fit there. St. Louis, there's definitely teams here that could definitely go after John Klingberg. It's just a combination of, does he want to be with a winning team and maybe take less money, or is his mindset going to be go for the money, like we saw Dougie Hamilton do with the New Jersey Devils? No disrespect there, but we know he went there for the money. So guys, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. What do you think of John Klingberg? Where do you think he will re-sign this summer, and potentially for how much money? Let me know your thoughts down below. Guys, as always, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you again next time.